All right, welcome back to Remote Work Bay. I have a very special person on the air with me today, Wendy. She's not only one of my favorite people in the world, but she's like this multi-talented, badass woman. I'll let Wendy speak for herself, but Wendy, do you want to kind of give a little bit of a background about, your story and what you're doing?
Sure. Thanks for having me, Audrey. It's such an honor to be part of Work Day. Okay, so a little bit about my background. I hail from Honolulu, Hawaii. I grew up there and came here subsequently for college and did the whole dance thing for a very long time. I've been dancing for over 2 decades now. But I also went to school for physiological sciences, and then I decided to go the nursing route. So I've been a floor nurse at UCLA for 15 years now. I started with medical surgical, but very, very shortly burned out on that. And now I'm in labor and delivery. I've been there for, basically like the 14 years or whatever, and love it. Love labor delivery. So in terms of everything else that I do in my life, Audrey knows we train like weekly basis. We do pole, we do aerial. I'm part of a troupe called the Furies, LA. You might have seen us at some festivals. We do fire, aerial dance, all the things. Been break dancing for two decades too, pretty much. And I've been an actress for maybe past like 8 years or something. I've been acting. I mean, the story continues. I recently just also started my own aesthetic business. Gonna do house and concierge calls for making everybody look beautiful with a bunch of different skincare modalities.
Amazing. Amazing. I mean, you're just so multi-talented. Talk a little bit about how you balance your weekly daily life. I mean, between business, social, and getting everything done throughout the week.
Honestly, there are days when I just lavish, I love traveling too, and definitely miss that, and we'll be returning to that. But I work night shifts. So night shift 7 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. in the morning, and I've worked night shift the last 2 nights. Mm-hmm. So I'm really trying to start this business now, and I've been having meetings with my medical director in Pasadena. So I get off work and I come home, and maybe it's like 9 a.m. when I actually go to bed, and then I have to meet him at noon, in Pasadena. So, that's like I'm sleeping 2 hours sometimes. So it is kind of ridiculous at times. Or like if I have, I want to still upkeep my training, then, I want to like definitely have that in my life and have to make time for that, and yoga, I have to be able to de-stress and do all the things. So there are days when I sleep very little. But I think the main thing for me has always been like, what is my priority? Like, what am I living for? What's my purpose? And then that makes everything really easy, because you just like target what your focus is, and everything just falls in place.
I mean, how is it like perpetually being jet lagged?
I've been a night nurse for basically like a few years into nursing. I like just decided I want to do just nights, because I actually can't wake up that early. It's actually really hard for me. So I feel like I'm basically hungover all the time. That's the feeling. That's the feeling. I mean, it can't be good for you, and I eventually, I'm sure this has to stop at some point. Sure, it's not good on so many levels. However, I always feel like mind over everything, and I feel like my mind is pretty strong. So I kind of just carry that like faith with me this whole time, and just make sure I put good thoughts in my system. And I'm also a huge fan of like listening to like tons of podcasts and master classes, and just like continual learning, and that I feel like boosts my mental health a lot, which I think is paramount. And then trying to eat organic all the time, and then when I do check out, I'm really good at checking out. Like when I'm on vacation, the second I land, I'm out.
I think it's so important to have that balance, especially when you're working all of these. I mean, you work 2-3 nights a week? What's your average?
Yeah, I mean, I work part-time in the hospital, so I usually just work 2 nights a week. Yeah, sometimes I can add on shifts. I also do like concierge IV infusions in people's houses, like vitamins. I also do, like, I go and do COVID swabs in people's homes, the rapids and, the PCRs. So that's also another side hustle I do with another company called Drip Hydration. So, if you guys want vitamin infusions, they're awesome company, also known as Concierge LA or Concierge MD Concierge. Yeah. Yeah, so that also lots of driving around LA, going to people. It's kind of like Uber for healthcare. I would equate that to that. So it is kind of a bit of a bustle and a hustle, but I do enjoy meeting people through that, because in the hospital it's a different clientele. I work with labor and delivery patients who are very hormonal, very, emotional time in their lives. Whereas, if you're just getting an IV infusion, you're just feeling like you need to pick me up, or, you're, kind of worried about, visiting your parents and you want to make sure your COVID's okay. Like, it's totally different, type of demographics.
Wow. So, I mean, what's it been like in this last year with COVID, and how has UCLA been? How's the hospital been? And how different are your normal daily procedures when you're working at the hospital or administering IVs to people?
Well, I think the main thing is just being protected part has changed a lot of the way we work.
Yeah.
And also, we have everybody test before they come in if they are scheduled for a procedure. Like if they're scheduled to be induced or if they're scheduled for a C-section, then they have to, right? So that brings down the unknowing and the nervousness, which initially everybody who came in was a possible, person, that could have COVID. So that was a little scary, However, now with that, I think it's brought a lot of peace of mind. However, still if somebody is coming in with which we don't know for sure, they're people's under investigation, like we don't know for sure if they have COVID, might have some symptoms or whatever, then we do have to don all our PPE, fully, and that can be a bit of a intrusion into our workflow, right? Because now we can't just go in and out, and sometimes they want things suddenly, or sometimes we look on the screen and baby's heart rate's coming down, then you have to put on all this garb really quickly and run in there and try to do these emergent resuscitative measures. And then also, if the person is going to go into labor, then that's requires another level of protection, because now there might be amniotic fluid being sprayed, or if we're doing a cesarean, then we might be cutting open insides and this and that, and hence also there might be some droplets that are in the room. So and then everything that's in the room is therefore from that point on contaminated, right? So there's also different things with the cleaning process and different things with how much material we can have in the room that we don't put to waste. And so that, in that sense, I think it's just slowed down workflow in that sense, but we've gotten better with it over the months, and better at like getting a system down, like, okay, we're gonna have somebody run here and then have a bag open so that when someone has a lab, they can just throw in the bag and not have to come in and out of just have runners here and there to help people make it a little bit more convenient. Yeah.
Have you seen in your patients, complications with people that are giving birth that have COVID at the same time?
So super fortunately, I feel like a lot of the patients that we do see who are COVID positive are actually asymptomatic, or, they might just have light, mild symptoms. However, unfortunately, we do have a lot of people in the hospital who have COVID, and some of these people are mothers, and surprisingly, some of them have not a lot of extensive history on other things. Like sometimes they might just have a history of mild intermittent asthma that they were able to find, or sometimes this person might have like some kind of thyroid issue that's not even so connected with COVID. However, this is only just what they've been able to find through someone's medical history, and I don't think that's the full picture of like how a person's daily activities are, and what they're engaging in their lives, and how they're consumption of food and, what their lifestyle is. So I don't think that's a full, complete picture, in terms of like just definitely pregnancy is, is a high risk, is something that will contribute to an exacerbation of the COVID. But I don't know. I just think there's much more than that. But there are a lot of really sad stories where, there are women that don't have a lot of medical history on paper and just completely sedated in ICU, and that is really sad. And some of them are really young too.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How is it? Have you been into the ICU at UCLA? What's the situation there right now?
I mean, the ICU is pretty packed. I mean, from what I heard recently, the numbers in UCLA seem to be trending down, which is good from when it was earlier, rising nonstop. But I think it's still a slow trend down. And there's still there, if you go to ICU, it's literally like every door is like there's, PPE outside every door. So I'm assuming everybody has COVID, I mean, we've been up there just to monitor the moms who are pregnant. So I can't say so much for everybody else on the floor up there. But definitely it is a force to be reckoned with, COVID for sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm glad you're okay. And thank you for being a frontline essential worker. You've been working this entire duration time that, most of the economy has been shut down, and it must be stressful to be in that type of environment that's constantly changing and, not knowing what this virus could do to you. And so thank you so much for doing that. And, I think we were chatting last week as well, and I want to hear a little bit about your experience with now that you're fully vaccinated and you got both your shots. How did that go?
Fairly well, honestly. So, I work in the hospital. Yeah, I've been working in UCLA for a very long time, and that's a whole medical institutional setting. But, the way I live is really very holistic also. So, not that I'm against vaccines, but, I just want to know the full picture of everything. Yeah. And I really did try very hard to find something that I was like, wait, this doesn't sound right about vaccine. I honestly couldn't, I'm really, I focus a lot on the microbiome too, the gut biome and the virome and all of that. And I really couldn't find anything, ill about the vaccine. In fact, what I could find regarding that was that, people who have been, maybe had a slew of antibiotics in the past that have like destroyed a lot of their gut biome, they didn't respond so well to vaccines, So, I mean, those things are correlated, I think. However, the vaccine itself, the first dose I got of the Pfizer was just a lot of arm pain, kind of like the flu shot, but maybe a little bit more intense. And that happened within maybe the 8 to 16 hour mark after the shot. That's when it was hurting, but then no other symptoms, and it went away after maybe at the full 24 hour, then it was pretty much gone. But no polling, no aerial for like a day or two, And then the second one came 3 weeks later, and that one I got it the morning after I got off my shift, and then nothing happened honestly besides a little bit of arm pain as well until the night of, and when I went to bed that night, I was just completely really feverish, like my skin was burning, but I had the chills, like I was so cold, so it was freezing in my room, and I woke up also with a pretty massive headache. I took 2 Tylenols, and then honestly, then it went away, and that was it. So I say
one day. One day. I see. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like very similar symptoms to a bunch of my friends that have gotten both their shots as well. They were saying the second shot had very similar symptoms to what you just described. It's very interesting. But now you're safer than the rest of us, so that don't have it yet. So
supposedly 95% after the second one. I think 1 to 2 weeks after you get your second vaccination. Supposedly I'm 95% immune.
Well, that's incredible. And this, so from what I'm understanding too, doing some research, they were saying that this particular vaccine is very different. Is that correct? Like it basically teaches your genome to fight off the virus.
Yeah. In the past, we used to take like weakened or dead viruses or particles of them and inject it into a person's body, and then you create your immune response based on, attacking this foreign thing that's in here. So this one doesn't have any particle of the COVID. What it does is it just the messenger RNA that goes into our bodies, and just those spike proteins you see on every COVID particle you see, they have like those red balls or whatever on them. So it just teaches your body to create those spike proteins, and then it like deconstructs itself after, making however much of these spike proteins, so that it doesn't continue to, just like flourish like a cancerous particle and create more. Right. And then your body recognizes there's a foreign particle here, this spike proteins, and then so it'll create an immune response. And then hopefully by the second vaccination, which is just like an additional dose of that one, your body will once again even, solidify, knowing that is a foreign particle, and then
fight it off.
That's
probably what's happening. The reason why you felt the way you did, it's your body learning to fight the virus off.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really fascinating. Wow.
And that's why the second dose, should engender a greater reaction. Although I think it's different for everybody too.
So
I don't really know what I don't think I've heard really why that is. Some people think, well, it is because your immune response is stronger, and so you might have a bigger reaction. But I don't think there's anything that's definitely proven that for sure yet. However, I do hear that with elderly, the response is a little bit more muted because of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing too. I mean, I have some friends who have elderly grandparents in their 90s, and it didn't seem like they had any type of response, like not that I've heard of so far, in terms of the vaccine.
Both my parents got the first dose already, and they barely had any arm pain, they said. So I'll update you on their response to their second dose.
I know. Well, please do. I'm very fascinated. I mean, I'm like way down the line. I probably won't be able to get mine until summer this year. But until then, I'll be staying safe. That's for sure. I mean, like I want to get a little bit into your new business, actually, because it's fascinating to me. I've talked to a lot of people that own small businesses pre-COVID, and they're, a lot of them have been struggling a lot with their business. What inspired you to start a business in the middle of a recession and in the middle of such, difficult times?
Honestly, I really wasn't thinking about it in relation to COVID so much. Although, when COVID first started, I had already wanted to do this business, and I was thinking, well, people are more interested right now in their health versus beauty. But, few months after that, I could see that, no, I mean, we live in LA. Beauty is always going to be paramount here, Absolutely. So I kind of went on this rabbit hole because I was getting laser hair removal, and someone in the laser hair removal office was talking me into this skin procedure that basically heats up your epidermis in order to create cause your dermis to create collagen. And so I was looking into this, and it kind of sent me on this rabbit hole of well, what's better than that? And then I found this machine that was I thought was okay, this is the pinnacle of what this type of microneedling, radio frequency microneedling machine does. And then I found out well, how I went to go see if I could get this procedure done, and it turned out to be a pretty hefty bill. So I was well, who gets to administer this procedure, and how much does this machine cost? So when I found all these details, I was well, actually, all you need is a registered nursing license, and obviously the machine is quite expensive, but but I'm okay, well, I can take out a loan for that, and and then it just happened from that point on, and now I'm hooked. The more I started learning about this aesthetics world, I'm just I love what's going on. Especially I come from entertainment background, and so looking good is such a huge part of it, right? And the minute that something starts to go bad, you're just you can go down this huge spiral in your mind. I mean, the face has not changed at all, really, too much on the outside, maybe just to you, but in your mind, you go on this crazy spiral, and then it affects everything, in your life, and then it can affect your physical. So I just found that to be a really perfect meld of my worlds, the medical, and then also like really, being aware of, how important it is to have, your physical looking good so that you can feel good, and then you can, be able to perform all the things that you want to do in life. So
that's amazing. I mean, I know you invested a lot, into the machine and this business, and I love the new logo behind you. I mean, it's beautiful. What does it say? Spotless
yeah,
face?
it says, oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Oh,
Skinshine of the spotless face. Yeah, follow us on IG.
Yes, absolutely. I'll definitely drop the link in the video below. But tell me a little bit more about the business, about the machine, what type of procedures that you're administering right now.
Awesome. Okay, so the really big one that we do is bipolar radio frequency microneedling. So I think a lot of people have heard about microneedling. It's a bunch of needles going into your skin, causing injury basically to your dermis, and then causing your body to repair that. Right? It's kind of like going to the gym and having little tears in your muscle, and henceforth your body has to repair that and then build stronger muscle. It's kind of like that for your face and your collagen. So that one, that machine that we have, it does wrinkles. It does so basically when you age, your connective tissue even starts to elongate, with gravity, right? All these years of just walking around in, one plane, on Earth with our gravitational pull, everything is just starting to sag. And with that, then your fat has nothing, your fat has nothing to hold it up with. So then that starts to sag. And that's why a lot of times we see a face that starts to, change in terms of shape, from this more, triangular, and then it becomes more pear looking, right, as we age. So that really does help. It does help like pick up all of those parts, and it goes into your dermis layer, and it can even go into your adipose tissue, which is like your fat layer. So all of those layers underneath, yeah, underneath that, and that's very deep, and it's very powerful too, this machine. So it does acne scars, it does big pores if you have pore issues. Sometimes it can even do some active acne too. But a lot of these things, like even a lot of big time plastic surgeons in LA also have this machine. They use it because they facelifts can't do what this machine does. Facelifts, it's very evident, like a part of your face is
you're cutting it
changed, right? But this one is just small subtle things that are changing to you, and the effects start continue with every day, and it lasts for months and months and months. So if you do it, we recommend 3 sessions, and that'll last you for a few years even. So, and every day, and you won't regress on that improvement. Whatever you improved on, that's your new present. And then from that point on, you can you will obviously still continue to age, as regular, but you're also getting more youthful from what you just did with microneedling.
So tell me, I know actually quite a few people that do these type of procedures or have gotten these type of procedures done. Mm-hmm. Since you did so much research as well, what is the difference between like the vampire facial and like the microneedling and the one that you have? Like there's like various, forms of this type of treatment. Like the one we're talking about, like ultrotherapy. Like what is the difference between all these treatments and the one that you offer?
Yeah, so this one that we offer is it's bipolar radio frequency. So it's besides just like needles going in, there's 24 pins going into your face. Besides that, there's a frequency of a plus and minus. So that's the bipolar, right? Going through there, and it's just going through that segment where the pins are going through. So and the pins are completely insulated, so it's not damaging your epidermis as it goes in, and it's very concentrated to that local area. So it's not like the charge is going all the way down into other parts of your body that you don't want it to be, right? It just needs to be focused on where it needs to be. So that's the bipolar radio frequency part. Is different. Like ultrotherapy, that is ultrasound, so that like works off of like sound waves. That's a different way of penetrating into the skin. I'm not sure if they use pins or not. I don't feel like they use pins for that one. For vampire, I'm pretty sure that one you also inject blood back to your skin. Yeah. Right. So platelet-rich plasma. So that can be something that we use with this machine too. And so, stay tuned. Maybe like in a month, I'll have it all set up. But platelet-rich plasma, PRP or PRF fibrin, that's really good. And that's, we'll basically take a sample of your own blood, and then we'll set it in a centrifuge, and we'll give you back, the platelets, for healing, for really healing, repair. And so, and it's from yourself, so it is the best. It's, autonomous to you. So
interesting. And how do you look immediately after? Because I know you're injuring your face.
Yeah. So immediately after there, you might feel like a sunburn or something. The face is kind of reddish for a little bit, but immediately after, maybe a few hours, like it's most of the reddish has already gone down. You can continue on with all your activities. There's no downtime in terms of, going back to work or, going out or whatever, as long as we say refrain from makeup, for the first 24 to 48 hours. And then make sure from now on you do wear sunscreen, and you're limiting your sun exposure. Yeah. So right now in the winter is actually a great time to get it done.
That's what I was just thinking. That wow, that's the next thing I want to try. That's fascinating, and I'm so glad that I have a friend that can administer it.
Yeah, and your skin looks great, Audrey.
Oh, yeah, I know. So I did the lumecca, which is it called IPF?
It's IPL, so
IPL?
it's intense pulse light. Yeah. So we're just basically shooting light. Yeah, it looks so good. Looks amazing.
I had this dark spot here that Wendy got off. It was like right under my under eye, and it crusted off. Exactly like what Wendy was talking about. It was like literally no downtime. My face was a little bit red, like as if I had gotten sunburnt, but it was such a fast procedure, and the results are literally almost immediate, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. The lumecca, also known as like a photofacial, it's pretty powerful. All these things are kind of the most powerful of its kind. And basically what it does is it targets like darkened spots, like pigmentation on your skin. So it does spider veins too, actually really well. And then it basically like burns it off. It'll start to just like crust and peel off. And darken first for maybe a few days, and then within also days, like you'll see it start to lighten and then go away. I actually had to think a long time because I have these freckles that I was kind of attached to, but I also underneath the freckles were also sunspots and a bunch of other things that really didn't need to be there. So now it's like it's all gone after one time. We do recommend a few times because you can see it's lightened, but extra times would be better. But I think I speak for a lot of people when I say I've been in the sun as a beach bum for so many years of my life. I grew up in Hawaii, and I just love like sitting on the sand, all the things, right? And then, we like to vacation in sunny parts of the world, right? And that's over the years, there's so much sun damage, and it accumulates and accumulates. And a lot of times, women's or men even start to wear concealer, and they feel like they can't just be their natural breathable skins out in the world without having to wear anything. And that's kind of, one of my goals is just to have people feel like, you know what, you don't need the makeup anymore. Like there's nothing to hide. Come out and show your radiant selves.
That's the dream, right? It's the dream. Eternal youth.
Yeah.
Really it is.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of us do feel really youthful, right? Like we're doing a lot of things in life, and we're really starting to make a dent in a lot of things that we put so much time and focus in on for the earlier years in our lives. But then we're like, no, but then my face is starting to show that, I put in all these years, right? But now we're like, okay, well, there's an option where you can actually feel, look as good as you feel. So, I think yes, I think we should feel all the things, look all the things. Because we have these options nowadays,
Right. Technology just keeps advancing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the third thing that we offer is laser hair removal. And this one is a diode laser. It's also the strongest of its kind. And the treatment piece is much bigger, as opposed to if you've gotten laser therapy in the past, that it's like much smaller, and you're just, over and over getting like a rubber band burn, like over and over, and it's uncomfortable. This one has a cooling piece on both the top and the bottom, so that helps numbing. And it's just really strong in terms of the energy that's going through. So that one's I think we can do what, the older laser hair removal therapies can do in like half the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. First of all, congratulations on launching your business. And I know you just launched the brand and everything as well. And I'll link all of your links and social media links to the video below.
Yeah.
But how could people find you on Instagram?
We're on just eternalskinshine on Instagram, and the website is launching like this week, but it'll also be eternalskinshine.com. We're on Yelp also. Check us out on Yelp. Just look up Eternal Skinshine. We're doing a launch month promo, 50% off all packages, which is crazy cheap. Yeah. So remember to contact and book today.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. So
I wanted to also zoom out and go back to you personally and like the bigger picture of just all the little things that you do, right? Or all the big things that you do. How is this like a means to an end, like this business? Like, do you eventually want to do this full time? And, since we are a remote work channel, is this something that you can take with you remotely as a business?
Yes. Well, I plan to do concierge business with this. So take this to people's homes, that way. I feel like the world's changing so drastically now. Storefronts is like a thing of the past, so I want people to feel comfortable in their own homes, and that would make my life easier too, and I'm used to traveling to people's homes now, so I actually really like that. In terms of a means to an end, I don't know what tomorrow has in store for me. I just kind of follow what feels good and follow what excites me. I do know that a dream of mine has always been to have an eco village with, all the people in my life that I love, friends, family, have a garden, have, a kombucha brewery, have, winery, all the things, right? And be able to teach all the different healing methods that we've learned over the years and be able to collaborate with other people in the world who are doing the same thing, throw retreats. Like that's kind of always been, I know for sure that will always be a dream of mine in terms of that is, I wouldn't say that is the end, but that will always be something that I'm, working towards or working on. If I already, have it at that time, I'll be continually working on that. There is few things in the world that make me as happy as when I am able to express myself artistically. And so acting is one of those things. It makes me so happy to be able to feel the different things that people feel, and under different pressure and circumstances, what do people do, and what makes a person think this way. And then dance is going to be forever in my life. There's nothing makes me feel as free as I do when I dance, and being able to, express myself in that way, which like I have cultivated so many years of that now that I have a language, with that is, able to express many things.
Right.
So, who knows where everything is going to bring me, but
it's as if you're slowly interlocking all parts of your life together to make it into, a life that is fulfilling for you. Right. And for those of you that don't know Wendy, she's such a, incredible connector of people. And I feel like, most gatherings pre-COVID were hosted at Wendy's place in LA. And so it'd be interesting to see what you do with this as you grow your business, as you grow your following, as you grow your career in all these different aspects of your life. And wouldn't it be really cool if you can intertwine and interlock all of these things and share that with the world?
Totally. Absolutely. I feel like go as far as I can see, and then I'll see more, so at this point, I definitely, like I said, having that eco village or like, or just, integrative medicine center, we have so many amazing people in our lives that do like Reiki, aromatherapy, they do, past life readings, and, they do massage therapy, acupuncture, like so many different ways of healing people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the world needs right now. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Since COVID, like depression, anxiety has hit the world majorly. That's like that's killing more people than most things, right? So I think we do need to kind of focus on healing the world again, from internally too, and and that can be helped by the physical things, because we all know that if you're not feeling good, I mean, for me at least, the first thing I need to do if I don't not feeling good is do something physical that makes me feel better. So we have to approach it with all these different methods, but I think that the love that we've cultivated, with all the people that we've grown with throughout these years, is really going to be a very powerful way to do that, I think.
I love it. I love it. I mean, keep sharing your story, keep exuding that eternal sunshine that you've been exuding since I've known you. And, thank you so much for being a frontline worker and for sharing your story and beautifying people like myself.
Yay!
Thank you so much. I'll add all of your information below, and I will connect with you soon for the microneedling. And
yes, please.
that.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Wendy.